The following program is a presentation of Comcast's SJTV. San Joaquin Television. SJTV.
Welcome inside the Alex G. Spanos Center, where tonight the Pacific Tigers ranked 19th in both the polls, 20-2 overall, 14-0 in conference play, host the UC Santa Barbara Gauchos, who are 8-13 overall and 5-7 in conference play. Along with the coach Dick Fickner, I'm Eric Alf. Pacific has won a school record 27 straight conference games and 16 games in a row overall. That ties for second best in school history. Bob Thomason on 3 occasions has won 16 in a row as head coach of Pacific previous to this year. He's never gotten to 17. He has a chance to do that tonight for the first time, and for Pacific to get their first outright Big West championship since 97-98.
You know, those are really glowing numbers, Eric, and you can go on and on. I know there's a lot more, too. But Coach Thomason wants to do one thing, and he tells his team, hey, we just got to take it one game at a time, gentlemen. Tonight it's the Gauchos. Saturday it's going to be UTEP, and we just go from there. But their concentration and their focus has to be on Santa Barbara tonight, and to get this 17th straight consecutive win, which I'm sure in the back of his mind he loves to have, but he doesn't want to emphasize that at this time.
Yeah, 3 previous occasions, gotten to 16 as head coach of Pacific, never gotten to 17. You mentioned keeping the focus for Pacific. Of course, it's hard not to be focused after the amazing comeback they had at Utah State on Saturday, down by 8 points with 30 seconds to go to win by 1 in regulation. Certainly a big win for the team this year, obviously their biggest to this point, but you have to put that one in the back of your mind and focus on Santa Barbara tonight and then obviously UTEP on Saturday.
Exactly, and you know what the team, I feel, and I really deeply believe this, did with their 2 wins on the road last week, is they've given themselves an opportunity to get an at-large berth in the NC2A tournament if they don't win the Big West tournament. Now they're going to have to win the rest of their season's games this year and go to that Big West tournament with a 25-2 record. But boy, I think if they go into there with a 25-2 record, they're going to automatically get a bid to that NC2A tournament.
And the key for Pacific is their RPI right now is in the upper 20s, a very good RPI as far as the strength of schedule, and so that bodes well for Pacific. They play here on Wednesday night against Santa Barbara, also at home on Saturday against UTEP. That is a 9 p.m. game, and then next week just 1 game at the Spanos Center on Saturday against Cal State Northridge, 8 p.m., and then 2 on the road to conclude the regular season against Fullerton and Riverside. Pacific defeated Santa Barbara earlier this season on the 22nd of January, 58-43, and the Gauchos have lost their last 10 games in a row on the road. Here is Pacific Public Address announcer Scott Preston.
Tonight's game features the visiting UC Santa Barbara Gauchos versus your Pacific Tigers! And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's meet tonight's starting players. First, for UC Santa Barbara. Starting at guard, is a 6'5" junior from Mobile, Alabama. Number 2, Josh Davis. Also a guard, is a 6'5" freshman from Camarillo, California. Number 4, Derek Rasp. Also at guard, is a 6'5" freshman from Alameda, California. Number 12, Alex Harris. Also at guard is a 5'8" senior from Los Angeles, California. Number 15, Chrisman Oliver. Starting at forward, 6'9" sophomore from San Jose, California. Number 44, Glenn Turner. The head coach for UC Santa Barbara is Bob Williams. The assistant coaches are Mark Amaral, David Campbell, and Matt Stock.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time once again to get on your feet. Here is the starting lineup for your Pacific Tigers. Starting at guard is a 6'1" senior from Oakland, California, number 20, David Dudley. Also at guard is a 6'5" senior from Santa Monica, California, number 1, Marco Mahanovic. Starting at forward, he's a 6'9" junior from Varberg, Sweden, number 13, Christian Mordecai. Also at forward, he's a 6'7" senior from Jönköping, Sweden, number 10, Jasko Karaike. And in the center tonight for the Tigers at 6'9", he's a senior from Paris, France, number 33, Guillaume Yango. The head coach for the Pacific Tigers in his 17th season is Bob Thomason. The assistant coaches are Ron Berlin, Calvin Bird, and Adam Jacobson.
Coach, if you will, give us your keys to tonight's game.
Yeah, Eric, first of all, the Tigers really have to do a great job of taking care of the ball. Their tempo, I think, has to be an up-tempo. I think it's going to favor Pacific at this time. Santa Barbara would like to slow it down. It was a low-scoring game in Santa Barbara the last time these two teams played. Shot selection is going to be very important. If the Tigers can get the ball out on the spread court, they ought to be able to get some high percentage shots down at the other end. Patience is also going to be a key. They're going to be able to have to make the extra pass, get the extra good shot tonight, and be ready for Santa Barbara's pressure defense. And then intensity. I think the Tigers are really focused and will be in every game. But coming off a big win like they did in Utah State, having another big game on Saturday night, this is sort of a tweener, so we'll have to watch and see how focused they are. But their intensity has to be high. They have to stay aggressive on defense as well as inside on the boards.
Not many empty seats, if any, here at the Spano Center. The season high 53-93 against Utah State. That will be topped tonight, topped again on Saturday, and maybe even the following Saturday against Northridge. Jerry Scott to throw it up, Jim Danner and Larry Spalding the other officials. Glenn Turner for Santa Barbara, Guillaume Yango for Pacific. He is the reigning conference player of the week. The Gauchos have it first. Alex Harris, a freshman from St. Joe's High School in Alameda. The Gauchos just suit up 9. They've been hit very hard by injury this season. Wild shot there comes down into the hands of Christian Moriker. He was the hero, of course, on Saturday and just had one rebound in that contest, but it was the rebound off the missed free throw by David Pack that, of course, he ended that play with the game-winning 16-footer.
Yeah, I tell you, it was a great shot. And you know, he asked him after the game what he was thinking about. He said he was just, his mind was blank, and that's probably the best way to be when you're hitting a shot at the buzzer. Santa Barbara comes out in a little zone defense tonight, so again, the Tigers have to be patient and move the ball, make that extra pass, make sure you get a good high percentage shot.
And of course, Bob Williams is going to have to do a great job with the substitutions because he doesn't have many options. Got to try and keep his guys fresh as David Dudley misses a 3, and then of course he hopes they don't get in foul trouble.
Well, we mentioned about, you know, really getting out and getting the tempo up, and that's one of the ways you can beat a zone defense is try to go to the boards and really run with the ball in transition once you get it off the defensive boards.
Here's Josh Davis from Elk Grove High School. That's all net. He played varsity ball as a freshman, and he's now a junior here at Santa Barbara, but 4 years of varsity ball at Elk Grove. Of course, Bill Cartwright's former high school. He hits the 3 there, coming off a career high in the first meeting against Pacific when he had 21.
Well, I'll tell you, that first game, it was sort of the Davis and Dudley show. Josh Davis scoring great for Santa Barbara, and David Dudley doing a great job for the Tigers. The only 2 players on either team in double figures in that first game.
Yeah, Dudley 18 points, but 5 assists and no turnovers. And you even look at Dudley in the most recent game against Utah State. Shot poorly, just 3 of 11 from the floor, but 7 assists, no turnovers. That's what he's given the Tigers all year long. He drives, gives it off, but is taken away by Derek Rasp. He missed 5 games with a lung contusion. This is his 3rd game since that point in time, and we'll run down the list of injuries for this Gaucho team. Really, Bob Williams' squad has been hit remarkably hard.
Yeah, they really have. That's really been the story of their season. Nice steal by Yango.
And Yango scores as he goes up against Chrisman Oliver, the 5'8", 155 Oliver. tried to take a charge, but then kind of thought better of it, and Yango puts Pacific on the board.
Well, really a good play by Jerome Yango in that he really stayed under control. You know, Oliver was back ready to take the charge, but Yango was under control and avoided the charge while he made the basket.
So 3-2 Santa Barbara, 2 minutes plus into our contest. Davis, not that time. Glenn Turner loses the rebound, and it goes over to Pacific. Turner in the last game for Santa Barbara lost to UC Davis. He hit his head, missed the second half of the contest. As you see Yango score, and he's back in there. And these are the guys that are healthy now in Turner and Rasp. There's many others, including Casey Cook, Cecil Brown, and Cameron Getchie, who were returning guys from a year ago, as Santa Barbara returned 4 of their top 5 scorers from last year. Brandon Fulop graduated, but they're without 3 of those 4 because of injury. Only Joe C is on the roster tonight.
That's a wide open shot for Margaret. Santa Barbara's sitting in a 2-3 zone, and the middle of the zone is really wide open. If the Tigers will just be patient enough and move the defense, they're going to have a wide passing lane right in the middle of the zone.
Moriker, 1,008 points in his Pacific career, was the 24th Tiger to go over the 1,000 mark. He was out here about an hour and a half before the game, the first player on the floor shooting around.
Well, Santa Barbara's doing a good job right now of controlling tempo. You know, they're nice and patient on their offense. They're putting a little pressure on full court and then getting back to their zone, so they're controlling the tempo on defense as well.
Fouls on Marko Mihailovic. Call made by Jim Danner. Here's David Kennedy into the lineup for Santa Barbara. He originally went to Santa Barbara as a volleyball player. His brother plays volleyball for Santa Barbara right now, Michael, but is with the basketball team, and they need him with only 9 healthy players. Yango, the rejection there. Gauchos don't keep it, trailing 4-3.
Yeah, small guard just penetrating a little bit too far. Get in there with the big guys, you're going to get it blocked.
Yango's 22nd block of the season. There's Harris. Yango tips it off the backboard, bounds in the hands of Marko Mihailovic for the Tigers, leading by 1 at 4-3. Krajkic, nice catch. Even better catch by David Dudley. Finds Moriker at the elbow. Put the ball on the floor, nearly taken away by Alex Harris. So a rough possession there for the Tigers. Never really kind of got under control.
No, it really didn't. A few wild passes back and forth, and timeout by Coach Thomas. He's wondering, it didn't look like our zone offense there for a while, fellas. Just skying the ball across court, skip passing, but Dudley, thank goodness he's got a good vertical jump, because he had to go very high to get a couple of those passes.
So the under 16 media timeout at 15:53. 4-3 Pacific on top. I want to run down those winning streaks for Pacific. As we said, the Tigers have won 16 in a row on 4 occasions. Obviously, they're right now in a 16-game winning streak. All under Bob Thomason as far as the 16-game winning streaks in Michael Olcandy's junior and senior years. You see number 2 and number 3. And then, of course, last year and then this year. The school record is 21 for Pacific in the late 60s. That team lost in the regional final to UCLA. For UCLA, that went on to be national championship number 3 and the first of 7 in a row. But ironically enough, to get to that regional game, Pacific beat Texas Western, the defending national champion. And of course, the year before under Don Haskins, that was the first all-black starting 5, and they beat Kentucky, and there's a movie being made about that team. But of course, Texas Western has become UTEP, who will be here at the Spano Center on Saturday night.
I know, that's a great story, and I can remember watching that Texas Western team win the championship against Adolph Rupp's Kentucky team. It was an amazing game, and they've had great basketball history down in Texas Western, and as you mentioned, UTEP now, University of Texas at El Paso, changed their name quite a few years ago.
And certainly that was much more than a basketball game, no question about that, because of race relations and what that game represented with the all-white Kentucky team and the all-black Texas Western squad. And so Pacific will be playing UTEP for just the 3rd time in the school's history. Remarkable looking at the history the two schools have. A limited history, but a very remarkable history. So the Tigers looking for their 17th win in a row, which will be the 2nd all-time in school's history as Kennedy scores 5-4 Santa Barbara. And Coach, as you said, we have just 9 combined points here in 4.5 minutes of action, exactly what Santa Barbara wants.
Exactly, yeah. They want to really keep that score down as low as they possibly can. And don't want to leave Mihailovic wide open, only 8 feet from the basket, however.
Mihailovic had been struggling from the floor his last 7 games, just 7 of 26. And of course, he had been struggling at the free throw line before Utah State, and he made all 3 of his attempts when he was fouled on a 3 in the final minute. And of course, those points proved to be very big in that game.
They really did. And again, his answer to the reporter was, I didn't feel any pressure because I didn't think the free throws would mean anything. But they sure did. Stepped up to the line and made all 3 of them.
Off the travel by Santa Barbara. I don't think anybody thought those points would mean anything at that point in time. And of course, Mike Webb, 10 points. All 10 of his points in the final 2:28 of that game. The Tigers were down by 8, 61-53 at the 37-second mark of that contest. Foul on Yango, his first, and the team's second. 6-5 Pacific, and certainly it's very early in this game, and I'm speculating very much so, but Coach, you talked about the focus. I mean, this is a definition of a sandwich game. Off the emotion of winning at Utah State and looking ahead to ESPN and the Bracket Buster on Saturday.
Yeah, it sort of is, and the coaching staff realizes that, and they really, I'm sure, have prepared them well, not only physically but mentally, to get after it on this game. And they come out and they're playing aggressive man-for-man defense, and they're not having any trouble with Santa Barbara's press. It's sort of a token press. As I say that,
they take it away.
Takes it away from them.
Harris with the steal. He scored the last 2, not 2 in a row though. Kennedy the rebound. That was blocked. Karaikic in there along with Yango. The Tigers on the break. Mihailovic finding Moriker, and he's fouled. But going down hard to the floor is Josh Davis, and Davis has kind of been the rock of this team, averaging 32 minutes per game. 7 times he's played 35 or more, and that's the last thing Bob Williams wants to see is Davis going to the floor hard.
Yeah, Christian Morker got the ball, and he got himself a little bit too far under the basket, had to get his balance, and Davis goes up in the air. Christian, to draw the foul, goes into him, and Davis takes the blunt of it on the floor.
13:53 showing on the clock here in half number 1 from the Spanos Center. Christian Morker at the line, an 81% free throw shooter, and I dare say probably a very good candidate for Big West Conference Player of the Year.
I would certainly think so, Eric. And probably Yango would be considered as well. Doubly, all 3 of them had fantastic years.
Of course, Maya Davis, Conference Player of the Year a season ago. I'm sure Spencer Nelson would be in the mix as well from Utah State. Moriker has both. 8-7 Pacific.
One of the heroes of the Utah State game, Mike Webb, checks in at the guard spot. Michael hit 2 big threes in that last part of the game to bring UOP back.
And there's Joe C. hitting the 3 with Webb flying out at him. Joe C. hit 8 threes earlier this year against Utah State, second most in school history. Brian Johnson hit 9 for the record.
Yeah, Joe C. loves to shoot the 3.
Yeah, 147 shots coming into the night as Newton's a little short for Pacific, 100 of which were threes, Coach.
Yeah, he's always looking for the 3, and he sort of plays behind that 3-point line all the time.
There's Dudley rising and hitting. David Dudley has the bucket, and we are tied at 10.
Well, Tigers really showing good patience against Santa Barbara's 2-3 zone, and they're not just taking the first good shot that comes along, but moving the defense and trying to get the great shot.
Chance of defense from a nearly sold-out Spanos Center. C, another 3, and he hits it. Joe C, back-to-back threes. He averages 7 points per game. The Oregon State transfer who won a state title at De La Salle High School in Concord.
He's really a streak shooter. He can hit 5 or 6 of those threes in a row out there, and just got to make sure that you make him pass up the ball.
Jump ball arrow to Pacific. Johnny Gray set the check in for the Tigers along with Matt Kemper. Turner returns for Santa Barbara. We'll also see Michael Chambers for the first time, and Chrisman Oliver returns to the Gaucho lineup. here at 13-10 Santa Barbara, as Joe C. has been instant offense. He started the year 0 of 16 from beyond the arc, but clearly right now feeling pretty confident.
Yeah, he really is. And like I mentioned, a streak shooter will cool off too, and he'll go a long time maybe without hitting one. But he's always thinking about making that shot and taking it whenever it's available.
Moriker looking for the answer. Rebound tipped a couple of times over to Santa Barbara. Spano Center faithful does not like that. The last sellout here at the Spano Center, the 19th of December. Not sure if Moriker got a piece of that. Tough call there. Happened right in front of Larry Spalding. But the last sellout, 12-19-98, when Stanford was here a year after the Final Four. Glenn Turner, count that, and he'll have a chance for three the old-fashioned way. Probably not quite a sellout tonight, but very close. But looky here, the Gauchos up 5. Turner with the chance to make it 6.
Yeah, if the Tigers are lacking in any area of the game right now, as far as intensity, it's at the defensive end. They're really not beating their men to the spot. They're letting Santa Barbara pretty much operate wherever they want to, and they're getting the ball inside too easily.
So Turner misses the free throw badly. He only scored 1 point in the first meeting with Pacific, has the deuce there, and is 15-10 Santa Barbara, their largest lead of the contest.
Santa Barbara just going out with that token defense on the spread court just to make UOP slow it up a little bit, run some clock, keep the tempo nice and slow where they like it to be.
Moriker got a little too deep, had to throw it out. Kemper, a little shot fake. Shot clock down to 3. Here's Gray, he's got to go up with it, down to 1. Karaikic at the horn, and he banks it in.
Well, when it's going right for you, everything's going right. Shot at the buzzer to go off the glass for Karaikic, and he'll take it. Tigers are very fortunate.
Gray passed that ball with 2 seconds. I'm amazed, first of all, Karaikic was able to get it off. But you're right, Coach. When you win 16 in a row, 27 straight conference games, erase an 8-point deficit in the final 30 seconds, things like that happen during the season.
Yeah, they really do. You know, it's amazing. When things are going well, your luck is with you as well.
Moriker goes to the floor. Karaikic ahead of the pack. Count it. And he'll head to the line for 3 the old-fashioned way. Karaikic running the floor. Here's the buzzer beater that went off the glass.
Yeah, Roscoe knew that it was going to go off, so as soon as he caught it, he put it up. Little class on that, and off the glass into the basket. The Tigers are doing a great job of when they do get the defensive rebound, looking for the fast break right away, and they're trying to beat that zone down the court before it gets set up.
So we're tied at 15. Karaikic still has a free throw, but it is the under 12 media timeout. And there's Jasko beating everybody down the floor.
Yeah, real good pass. Just had enough room before he went out of bounds to put the ball up to the basket. Got pushed from behind as he made the basket.
And that was Gray on the nice find, and I'm sure he'll assume David Dudley's point guard position next year, much like Dudley assumed Maya Davis' spot, although certainly he played the point guard last year. But Bob Thomason has a nice succession going at the point guard position.
Yeah, they really do, with Johnny Gray and Michael Webb as well. Junior college transfers and really improving as the years gone on. And both of them were really playing much better than they right now in this part of the season than they did earlier on. And they're just get better and better as the year goes, the season comes to an end, have a chance to work out during the summer, get a little bit stronger. They'll come back ready to really be a focal point at the UOP program.
Our final basketball broadcast, we want to thank Eric's New York Style Pizza for being with us all season. Again, 4118 North El Dorado Street in Stockton. 463-6339, 463-6339. So Pacific, this is the home game, 3 remaining after tonight. They will be here on Saturday against UTEP, a 9 p.m. game, and then the following Saturday they just play once, but they'll be at home against Cal State Northridge, and then March 3rd and 5th on the road at Fullerton and Riverside. So after tonight, 4 regular season games and 2 home games after tonight. Here's Karaikic, the 80% shooter. He's been in double figures 5 of his last 9 games, and he quickly has 6 after banking the 3, and now the old-fashioned three-point play.
Well, the Tigers are 6 for 10 from the field at 60%, a shooting great percentage. It just, they just haven't been able to get the ball in possession that often with Santa Barbara controlling the tempo. Santa Barbara's running the clock down before they're ready to attack the basket. and then they're slowing up UOP at the other end with their 2-3 zone defense.
Nearing the midway point of the first half. Skip pass comes out to the right side, and knocking it down is Michael Chambers. Chambers coming off a game against Davis when he was 5 of 8 from the floor last week. 12 points all in the second half, a career high for him. He made 2 of his 5 threes. He had been 1 for his last 16 prior to that, so he's probably feeling confident. And he and Joe C now 3 of the 4 threes for Santa Barbara.
Yeah, Michael Chambers, a transfer from USF, University of San Francisco, sat out last year, playing his first year with the Gauchos.
Yeah, Chambers from USF, also a D1 transfer, and Joe C from Oregon State, as Marker now has 6 on that jump hook, which is his go-to shot.
It really is. He's really confident with that jump hook inside. And it's almost unblockable by anybody in the Big West Conference.
And then the other D1 transfer for Santa Barbara is not suited up tonight, Cameron Getchie. Getchie, lower back injury against Davis last week. That shot by Oliver is blocked. Now Pacific already 3 blocks in the early going. Gray quickly into the front court for Reichich. His third 3, one the old-fashioned way, 2 from beyond the arc. He has 9. Timeout Santa Barbara and Bob Williams.
Well, the Tigers again doing a great job of pushing the ball up the court. Johnny Gray couldn't wait to get that ball in his hand to power dribble it up the court. Reichich gets set in the corner, looks for the pass, gets his feet set, buries the 3-point shot.
Josko Karaikic, a 30% three-point shooter coming into tonight, but he is 2 of 2 from downtown, 3 of 3 from the floor. And Johnny Gray, coach, a quick 3 assists from him in very limited action.
Yeah, Johnny Gray really loves to push the ball, and he's doing a good job of that. And the Tigers, again, beating the zone defense, beating it before it can get set up at the other end. If you do that, if you push the ball against the zone defense, you're going to get some wide open shots.
Pacific, as you can see from that sign, winners of 16 in a row for the 4th time under Bob Thomason, 4th time in school history. The school record 21, set by the 1966-67 team, which of course was coached by Dick Edwards, the mentor of Bob Thomason, the man who coached him here at Pacific. Tigers trying to get to 17. Santa Barbara, they've lost 5 of their last 6. They're in 6th place in the Big West, trying to improve their seeding to the Big West tournament. Pacific is already the #1 seed. They'll play on Friday night, the 11th of March, in the semifinals at 6 p.m. Tyler Newton, the big man, dribbling the length of the floor, and he's fouled. So we earlier saw Yango at 6'9", dribble the length of the floor after a steal and score. And now Newton does the same at 6'10", showing the versatility of this Tiger team.
Well, we mentioned early on that it didn't look like maybe the Tigers had the intensity that they needed on defense. Well, believe me, Eric, they have picked it up. In this last couple minutes, they've got a couple rebounds, a couple steals, have forced Santa Barbara in some bad shots, and now they're out and running. So they're initiating their offense through their defense.
Newton, who early in the season was in the low 30% from the free throw line, now up near 60%. Josh Davis hit a 3 to start off the game, a 2 there, and a whistle by Jerry Scott. Not sure what that was for, but we'll go back in play. Leaner there from Webb, hitting from 2-point range.
Well, Santa Barbara's full court pressure defense isn't bothering the Tigers at all. There's an opening in the middle of the court. The Tigers are just getting the pass to that area, and it creates a spread court opportunity for the Tigers.
Jump ball will stay there. And Pacific's on a 16-5 run. They were down, remember, 15-10. Have outscored Santa Barbara 16-5 since then, and clearly the tempo is picking up, much to Pacific's favor.
Yeah, and the press defense may be working against Santa Barbara right now as far as keeping the tempo down. It's a sort of a token pressure, but they have to do a better job of containing the ball.
Whistle by Jerry Scott away from the ball. It's on Josko Karaikic, his first. 4th on the Tigers.
But Pacific has definitely picked it up. They're into the ball better. Johnny Gray's into Joe C out front now. Tigers are down, really trying to get into the ball, stay in front of the ball. Double team if necessary.
Santa Barbara shooting 53% for the game. Pacific 71%. They are 10 of 14. C gives it off to Glenn Turner, and the flush 4-point game, 26-22 Pacific. Nice find by C, and then Turner finishes it off.
Good job by C, penetrating and then finding Turner as Turner's man came over to stop his penetration, passing it off to Turner for the slam dunk.
There's Gray. He'll take it himself after assisting on 3 buckets. Back iron, rebound to Glenn Turner for Santa Barbara. Gaucho's looking to cut it to 2 or 1 with the made 3. It touched every part of the rim but wouldn't go down for Alex Harris.
Yeah, the Tigers are getting the ball right into the paint area a lot. About the last 5 or 6 possessions, just like Matt Kemper right there. Right into the paint area and taking the ball to the basket.
And we've said this before, but Kemper has been so valuable off the bench in the 9-man rotation for Bob Thomason. Had 10 points in 10 minutes against Cal Poly, his season high. Last weekend against Idaho, he had 8 points on 3 of 6 shooting, made 2 3-pointers as well. He's shooting above 50% from downtown and really gives Bob Thomason a great option. Josh Davis, in a semi-homecoming, as we said, he went to high school at Elk Grove High, 2 threes and a bucket. Maybe likes playing against the Tigers, had a career-high 21 earlier this year against Pacific, already 8 here tonight.
Well, you know, he comes in the game with a lot of confidence, having played so well in their first meeting down in Santa Barbara, and I'm sure with some relatives and everybody in the building, really looking forward to this game.
Webb can't hit the 3. Joe C will tuck it down and run with it. 28-25 Pacific by 3.
And that shot was really on for Michael Webb. It just came off the back of the rim, just a shade too hard, but it was right on line.
And of course, people saw Webb hit 3 threes in the final 2.5 minutes. Davis, jump ball there, will go over the Tigers. Mihailovic, Doubly, Moriker, and Yango to return for the Tigers, and David Kennedy for Santa Barbara. It's the under 8 media timeout all the way down at 5:52. But people saw, of course, Mike Webb hit those 3 threes late against Utah State and scored 10 points in the final 2:28. As here's the dunk by Turner. But Coach, in junior college, playing for Antelope Valley Junior College, he once scored 14 points in 50 seconds against Santa Monica Community College. So 14 points in 50 seconds, and I guess maybe that led him into his 10 and 2:28 on Saturday night.
Yeah, he can fill it up, and you know, with the 3-point shot now, you know, they can put him up there really quickly. I had a player I coached on the '79 championship team, Terrence Carney, who was the conference MVP that year. Just could shoot the ball, just the lights out, you know, and too bad the 3-point shot wasn't in existence at that time, because he probably would have had a few more 100 points in his career.
28-25 here, Pacific by 3. It looked like when the Tigers went on that 16-5 run and went up 26-20, they were going to assume some control, but Josh Davis backed the other way, and it's still just a 3-point game. Yeah,
Josh Davis is instant offense, as is Joe C. Both of those guys love to shoot the 3, and they don't hesitate. So if they're on, they're going to put some points up on the board real quickly. Tigers have to know where those 2 players are on defense. The Tigers have been in a man-for-man. They just have to be aware of where number 11 Joe C is, and also number 2 Josh Davis.
You can see not many empty seats. In fact, you can't see many at all, as there's probably just a few here and there, and that's about it. Pacific this season averaging nearly 4,300 fans per game. Second all-time in school history. The 97-98 team, of course, after going to the tournament the year before, would have been Michael Wilcandy's senior season. Nearly 5,000 the average, and Pacific probably close to a sellout tonight and in the next 2 games, if not a sellout for their final 3 home games. We'll get up to about 4,700 as far as their average, and we'll finish second to that 97-98 team.
Gauchos that time putting a little bit more pressure on the double team with the ball. They just sort of been passive in that press-off defense up till now, but now they're trying to extend it and put a little bit more pressure on the ball.
Moriker flashed to the free throw line, kicked out to Mihailovic, rebound Newton, keeps the ball above his head and scores.
Great job using your height inside. Tyler Newton, 6'10", went up high over a Santa Barbara player and did not bring the ball down, as you mentioned, put it right back up for an easy basket.
5 for Newton off the bench for the Tigers. Tyler Newton averages 6.5. Josh Davis, a little bit of contact, foul, no foul call though, and the ball goes out of bounds.
Yeah, Josh Davis probably a little bit off balance on that shot. took the shot a little bit too quickly that time. But again, Santa Barbara extending their defense.
And Pacific with Newton, Mihailovic, Yango, Moriker, and Doubly on the floor. Cross-court pass by Moriker, and he's kind of grimacing a little bit, shaking his right knee. Mihailovic gets into the lane, kicks out to Moriker, and can't knock it down. Offensive board, Tyler Newton out to Doubly from beyond the arc. Rebound Newton again, his third offensive rebound in 2 possessions. Count it.
Well, Tyler Newton says, hey, I'm going to get an offensive rebound and throw it out to you guys, and you keep missing it. Next time, I'm just going to take it to the basket and score myself, which he just did.
And so Tyler Newton just relentless on the boards and able to knife through there and get just enough English to let it drop in. And Newton 7, Karaikic 9 to lead the Tigers. Newton has the free throw as well, and he looks nothing like the free throw shooter that was in the 30% range earlier this year.
No, he really is. His free throw shooting technique has improved so much, and his confidence has improved. Tigers now putting a little full court zone pressure on themselves. Again, just sort of token pressure just to make Santa Barbara hold up a little bit and use some time clock.
Johnny Gray into the lineup. He replaces Newton, so the Tigers really with the 3-guard look in Gray, Mihailovic, and Doubly. Game clock nearing 4 minutes to go. Pacific leading by 8. That is their largest lead. Davis along the baseline, tipped up and in by Joe C. And certainly Bob Thompson not happy when C at 6 foot can sneak in there for the offensive tip.
I didn't realize he had that kind of hops. He was up. He looks like a little guy out there at 6 feet, but he was up on that glass. No one got a body on him. Normally you don't have to screen out someone 6 foot, but you got to screen him out.
Doubly lost it, but Mihailovic picked it up for the Tigers. We go under 3.5 to play in the first half. Pacific can't shake Santa Barbara. Yango, what body control there, and maybe a foul that wasn't called.
I can't believe they didn't call a foul. Yango got the ball in the basket some way or another, but he was really hacked by the Santa Barbara player.
And that's the price you pay when you're a bigger guy, I guess. Sometimes you take a little bump, and because you don't grimace or anything like that, the foul isn't called. But Rasp certainly with some contact against Yango, but Yango completed it. Doubly and near still. Mihailovic has it for the Tigers. Numbers aren't there. A lot of skip passes by the Tigers against this defense of Santa Barbara.
Yeah, they really want to move the zone. They're doing a good job of skip passing. When you skip pass over a defender's head, it really makes the zone have to cover more court. And the Tigers are doing a great job of that right now.
So the timeout taken by Santa Barbara as Pacific has pushed the lead to their largest right now at 10. Yango back-to-back hoops. And clearly when the Tigers can push the ball into the front court and get the ball to their big players like Newton and Yango, they have a big advantage against Santa Barbara.
Yeah, there's 3 keys in this game, Eric, right now that I can see. And number 1 is Pacific's done a great job of getting the ball out in quick transition and getting some easy baskets down at the other end before Santa Barbara's zone gets set up. When their zone is set up, they're showing good patience and moving the ball and making the zone move, skipping the ball over the zone's head and getting wide open lanes to the basket that way. And then thirdly, they're just doing a good job of taking care of the ball and not turning it over against Santa Barbara's pressure defense.
Lynn King, athletic director here at Pacific, looking on, as well as Jim Degoni, Aaron Tapper in the background. Tigers by 10. We mentioned the injuries for Santa Barbara. Let's run them down quickly. Cecil Brown last year scored nearly 8 points per game, and he's had 2 different injuries this year and hasn't played for the Gauchos. First, a stress fracture in his left ankle, then he tore the MCL in his right knee. Cameron Getchie, who's out right now, an injury to his lower back. He's averaging 8 points for the season. Casey Cook, a year ago, Cook nearly 10 points per game. And in the first 10 games of this year, he's averaging 11. Cook is out for at least a couple more weeks with the fracture in his right foot. Also, Derek Rasp, who's playing tonight, had the lung contusion. David Kennedy, who's playing tonight, had a stress fracture earlier this year. Another player, it goes on and on.
What a headache. What a headache for a team and a coach.
And then also Chris Devine, a knee injury. He has not played at all this season for Santa Barbara. So when you count them up, 9 different players have missed time, and many are still out or will be out for the rest of the season for Santa Barbara, as Derek Wheeler's in the lineup for Santa Barbara. And they trail by 10, they turn the ball over. And that's the under 4 media timeout, 2:25 to play in the first half. And Pacific now with a little bit of control after Santa Barbara hit some shots early, mainly Joe C. and Josh Davis.
Yeah, every time Pacific comes out of a timeout, Eric, they really come out with a lot more intensity on their defense, just as they did that time, and that caused the Gauchos to turn the ball over. Coach Thomason is telling his team in the timeout, hey, we're going to generate our offense on defense. We go out and play hard on defense, make them force up a shot or turn the ball over, then we can get the ball and go on the offense on the transition down the court and beat their zone down the court. So the emphasis right now is on Pacific playing really good man-for-man defense.
Pacific shooting 62.5% from the floor. Teams have been shooting very well against Santa Barbara recently. UC Davis last week when they beat the Gauchos shot 54%. Utah State 2 games ago for the Gauchos shot 71% for the game, and Pacific picking up right there as well. It's definitely a depleted Santa Barbara team with just 9 players suited up. Pacific looking for the outright Big West Championship. They won a West Division title back in 97 and 98. If they get the win here tonight, they'd be 15-0 in conference play with 3 games to go. The last team to go undefeated in Big West play was Utah State in the 99-2000 season. That Utah State team went 16-0, but the last team to go 18-0, UNLV in 91-92. That UNLV team was ineligible for postseason play. They went 18-0 in conference, and the UNLV team the year before, 90-91, also went 18-0, but they lost to Duke, went 34-1 that season in the Final Four. Ironically enough, the UNLV team that won the national title in 89-90, they went 16-2 in conference play. So the Tigers trying to be the first team to go 18-0 in conference since UNLV in 91-92.
Well, there's a little over 2 minutes to go in this first half, and I think this is really an important 2 minutes for the Tigers. They have a 10-point lead right now, and they don't want to give any of that back to Santa Barbara. They want to go into the locker room with at least a lead in the double figures.
Doubly just 1 of 4 tonight, one of the rare Tigers who hasn't found it from the outside. Joe C. on the leaner, won't drop for him. Rebound tipped out of bounds by Derek Wheeler. And we'll go over to Pacific with 1:43 showing on the clock, 37-27 Tigers.
Well, again, good penetration by Joe C. Took it all the way into the lane, got a little shovel shot out off the glass, just barely came off the rim.
9 lead changes in this first half, 4 ties. Santa Barbara's largest lead 5, Pacific currently with 10. That is their largest lead. Gray gives it to Yango, and the dunk. Johnny Gray, 4 assists here in the first half. He has been very impressive.
Well, Johnny Gray is really seeing the court, and Santa Barbara had a defensive breakdown. You don't leave Yango wide open 2 feet from the basket so he can slam dunk it.
Yango with 8 here in the first half, has been in double figures in 5 straight games, and has been a tear on the offensive glass as of late.
Again, Santa Barbara trying to dribble rub against Pacific's man-for-man defense and trying to create some passing lanes.
Oliver with the look, that's well long. The first time against Pacific, Oliver just 1 of 13 from the floor. His last 2 games coming in, 1 of 11. Mihailovic is rejected by Turner, the team leader. That's his 35th block of the year for Santa Barbara. Tigers by 12. About a 10-second differential between the game clock and shot clock here in the first half, 38-28.
Tigers
game and shot clock, that is.
Santa Barbara staying in their zone. It's more of a 1-2-2 zone right now. They're changing it a little bit. But again, Tigers showing good patience, trying to penetrate.
Now Mihailovic for 3 after Turner had another block. Shot clock is off. Santa Barbara can hold for the final shot with 15 seconds to go in the half. Oliver up top.
Tigers in man-for-man defense as they have been this entire first half.
C with 4 seconds. Down to 2, shot on the way, no good. Follow Turner at the horn, and that counts. So it's a 10-point game at the break. Pacific 39, Santa Barbara 29. Glenn Turner gets the bucket there as the horn sounds, and Early on, Santa Barbara had a 15-10 lead. Pacific went on a 16-5 run to extend the lead to 6. It got as large as 12 just moments ago. Here at the break, it's 10 as the Tigers shoot 55% in the first half. But early on, the tempo clearly favored Santa Barbara. After that, it favored Pacific.
Yeah, Santa Barbara did a good job the first 7 or 8 minutes of the game, really controlling the tempo with a little token full court pressure defense to slow up the Tigers. Then they got back in their 2-3 zone and sort of shut off the inside, so the Tigers showed good patience, moved the ball around, and got a high percentage shots. The Tigers shot very well throughout the first half. They were never cold. They hit 4 out of their first 7 shots and ended up, well over 50% for the half. But then the Tigers were able, through their defensive intensity, got a few steals, a few turnovers, some off-balance shots, and then they got the ball out on the spread court and started beating the zone down the court. Got some wide open, easy, high percentage shots at that time.
And Johnny Gray did a good job leading the break and setting up some of those easy shots. Josko Karajkic with 9, 8 each from Newton and Yango for the Tigers. Remember, Karajkic hit that bank three-point shot with the shot clock going off. That seemed to be a big shot because the next possession, he had the and one three-point play as well, and that got Pacific going in the right direction.
Yeah, it really did. And then the momentum was in Pacific's favor, and they were able to work their transition game a little bit better. They kept up their intensity on the defensive end and out-rebounded Santa Barbara badly on the defensive end, so they had some fast break opportunities. Unfortunately, there's a bad taste in Coach Thomason's mouth right now because the last shot was missed. They played good defense, but they got the offensive rebound and put it back in. So he'll let them know about that in the locker room.
Yeah, he reacted certainly. You have to play perfectly, certainly when you get to a high level, and the Tigers are trying to be at that level, looking for their 17th win in a row. Bob Thomason trying to get to 17 wins straight for the first time ever. This is his 4th team to get 16 in a row. Tigers by 10 here at the half. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, the Hamilton Middle School marching band on the floor here at the Spano Center. If you're watching us live, they're certainly one of the best around. Quick break. Tigers by 10, back with Hamilton right after this.
University of the Pacific, Stockton, Sacramento, San Francisco.
about 4 minutes away from the start of the second half here at the Alex G. Spano Center. Pacific on top of Santa Barbara by the score of 39-29. Pacific's largest lead in the first half was 12. Santa Barbara's largest lead was 5. There were 4 ties in the first half and 9 lead changes. Let's go ahead and run down the first half statistics. Well, first we'll go over Pacific's longest winning streaks. As you can see, the Tigers 4 times have won 16 games in a row under Bob Thomason. Coach Thomason has never gotten that elusive number 17, the school record in that 1966-67 season when the Tigers won 21 in a row before losing to Lou Alcindor and UCLA in the regional final. But as far as the first half, after a rocky first 7 or 8 minutes, Tigers looking pretty good, maybe on their way to that 17th straight win.
Yeah, they certainly got it together the last 3/4 of that first half, and started really getting the ball out well on offense. Showed good patience all through the half, I felt, with their half-court offense. They had one time there where they were sort of air-mailing the ball back and forth, and it got, I think, Coach Thomason a little nervous, so he called a timeout. And sometimes you don't recognize what your team's doing. They never do that in practice. You don't practice that. All of a sudden a game starts, and they're out there doing something that you don't recognize. So he called a timeout and says, hey, fellas, just run the zone offense and so I can recognize what you're doing.
So you've had a chance to look at the halftime stats, study them a little bit, maybe memorize them. Pacific out rebounding Santa Barbara 17-11. Pacific out shooting the Gauchos as well, 55%. We didn't have a chance to memorize them yet, but Pacific with 6 assists overall, 4 coming from Johnny Gray. But one number that's not on there, Coach, Pacific 5 of 5 at the free throw line. Santa Barbara just 0 of 1.
Yeah, Santa Barbara just got the free throw line once, and when you're just a jump shooting team, not really getting the ball and taking it hard to the basket, although Joe C. did take it hard a couple times to the basket, but Pacific's not going to foul you if you're just going to be content to shoot the outside jump shot. So you're not going to get to the free throw line very often when you do that. Santa Barbara is certainly shooting a lot better, Eric, this game than they did at home in the first game against UOP. They only shot 26% in the first half as opposed to 46% tonight.
And Pacific leading in the paint 24 points to 12. They usually outscore the opposition in the point when you have the size of Yango, Newton, and Morker as well. Though Tyler Newton had that stretch where he started 12 straight games. Jasko Karajkic has started the last 5. Of course, Pacific has won the last 16. Now you can see here, they did this before the game. They're also doing it here before the start of the second half. The replay of the game against Utah State last Saturday. The fans had a big cheer before the game, and many are standing up and watching this right now as Webb dropped in the 3. Yeah, and certainly one that's going to live in Tiger lore for a long time.
Yeah, it really was. One of the most fantastic victories in Tiger history. There's no doubt about that. And then all of college basketball, they come back from 8 points with such a minimal time left and pull the game out in regulation. Sometimes Tiger teams will be able to get it and tie it up and go into overtime, but to win it in regulation was a phenomenal feat for the Tigers.
That was a pretty phenomenal shot from Mike Webb right there, and I'm sure many fans will watch this over and over again and never get tired of that.
Right.
But the key for this Pacific team, certainly fans can talk about this years from now, as will the players. They don't want that game to be the high point of their season.
No, exactly. They got a lot more to accomplish down the road now. And again, as we mentioned before the game started, you just got to take them one at a time. Your current game or your next game is always your most important one. And that's where you have to keep your focus.
And the funny thing, you mentioned focus. Everybody here at the Spano Center is looking up to the replay board to watch this. But Pacific Huddle, they're focusing on Bob Thomason because that game won't do them any good now. This game will here.
Yeah, that game is history. This is the one that's current right now, and this is the one they got to work on. But there's 3 things that really stand out in the stat sheet regarding the first half. You already mentioned the points in the paint, where Pacific scored 24 points in the paint to only Santa Barbara's 12. Also, Santa Barbara had 2 points off of turnovers, where Pacific had 10, and then fast break points. 0 points for the Gauchos on fast break points, 11 for Pacific.
And they still have it running up on the replay board as we're set to start the second half, and now they go out of it, and it didn't have a chance to get to Christian Morker hitting the game winner as he did. So a few seconds too long there on the replay of Saturday's game. We're here live at the Spano Center on Wednesday the 16th, our final SJTV broadcast. There's Harris a little short the freshman, just 1 of 5 in the first half, only 2 points in the game. Pacific leading by 10. Their largest lead was 12 in the first half.
Well, the Tigers certainly want to keep the tempo up now. Santa Barbara wants to get back into their slower tempo and slower rhythm.
Tigers lose it there. Pacific only has lost once in this building to USF just before Christmas. There's the 3 dropped in by Harris, so he now with 5 points, and quickly it's a 7-point game.
Yeah, Alex Harris, another 3 from the outside, and little token pressure again. The Tigers have to hustle the ball across, just barely get across before the 10 seconds.
Yeah, the pass was going across the timeline with 25 on the shot clock. Yango finishing with the left hand. He is fouled and will head to the line for the 3-point opportunity. And Yango now with 10, his 6th straight game in double figures. Coach Thomason early on said he wanted to see a consistent Guillaume Yango. Last year we saw flashes of brilliance over the final 7 games when he scored 17.5 per game and nearly 7 rebounds, but he's become very consistent here in the latter half of his senior campaign.
Yeah, this is the area of the game where the Tigers have really hurt every team, particularly in the Big West Conference, is with Yango inside, Marker working inside, Newton working inside. They really have an advantage over teams in the Big West Conference, particularly because of their size and their strength inside.
Yango completes the 3-point play. 42-32, Pacific back up by 10. Yango against Utah State last Saturday, 15 points, 7 rebounds. 4 were offensive. And against Idaho 2 nights before, he had 14 and 12. Here's Derek Rasp. And so the 3s are falling tonight for Santa Barbara. That's one of the reasons why they're hanging close, down by 7. They're 7 of 13 from downtown. The first meeting against Pacific, they were 7 of 26 on 3s.
Well, you know that Santa Barbara has everything to win, nothing to lose. You know, they're loosey-goosey out there, and you know all their shooters are going up with nice fluid motion and putting the ball up.
They've lost 10 straight road games, have the Gauchos, since winning in overtime against San Diego State in their first road game. Moriker from about 17, Christian Moriker now with 8.
Again, good job by the Tigers of sharing the ball, finding the open man. So good job by Christian Morker going up for that baseline jumper and burying it.
Morker has led the team in scoring on 7 occasions. Tonight getting all kinds of help from his teammates. Very balanced scoring from Pacific, led by Yango, who has 11. Shot clock now hits 10 for Santa Barbara, trailing by 9.
Well, this is where the Tigers really got to D it up now. Don't give them an open shot.
Rasp a little short. Guillaume Yango flying in for that rebound.
Santa Barbara does a better job of getting back on the spread court.
Yango can't finish. Glenn Turner has it. Here comes Santa Barbara. Harris loses it, regains control, kicks out to Oliver. And Chrisman Oliver can't convert. Harris, though, gets it back, and it's back to a 7-point game, 44-37. And so Harris, 7 points now. He was the D4 High School Player of the Year in the state of California last year, as St. Joe's won the D4 state title by 2 over Bourbon Day. Foul right there on Harris, his first, but Harris has really had to grow up a lot this year as a freshman, making 17 starts this season and playing 25 minutes per game, something that wouldn't happen if Santa Barbara hadn't been hit so hard by injuries.
Exactly, and you know, he's taken advantage of it too, and he certainly, for a freshman, looks like a very polished player. This is only going to improve him for future years at Santa Barbara.
16 of 29 from the floor by Harris over his last 4 games, 7 of 11 on 3s. And here tonight, 3 of 8.
Tigers staying or going inside. Their main emphasis has been to get the ball inside this half. They're doing a great job finding Morker that time with our easy lay-in.
So Christian Morker with 10. Gray almost picks it. Santa Barbara will keep, but 11 from Yango, 10 from Morker, 9 from Karaikich, 8 from Newton for the Tigers.
Johnny Gray doing a great job with pressure defense out front.
Gray and Webb are the backcourt right now for Pacific. And oftentimes you hear coaches, and Bob Thomason speaks about it quite a bit, JC transfers needed a full year to acclimate themselves to the D1 level. And clearly it's taken Webb a little longer than Gray as far as getting his shot going. Gray, though, running the point, but you can tell they feel very much comfortable now playing at this level. Offensive foul looks like the call here.
Well, Yango just sprinting down the middle of the court, just right to the offensive basket. Got the pass from Webb, but missed the lay-in and then committed the foul going after the ball on the offensive glass.
And so it is the second foul on Yango. Pacific as a team only 5 fouls. They only average 14 per game. At 7.5, teams can barely get into the bonus shooting against Pacific. That's why the Tigers have dominated this year at the free throw line, coming in, making 332. The opposition only taken 283, making more than the opposition has shot this year. All kinds of trouble for Rasp, and that's a 5-second call.
Great.
Well done by the Tigers. Yango and also Karaikic is well off the ball.
Yeah, great job by the Tiger defense that time. And how about Coach Thomason starting Johnny Gray and Mike Webb the second half, and really getting those guards really getting into Santa Barbara's players now on defense.
So 15:37 to play here in the second half. The under 16 media timeout. Pacific leading by 9. They led by 10 at the half. But Coach, the two numbers I just talked about, Pacific shooting and making more than the opponent has taken at the free throw line and averaging just 14 fouls per game. Those are Duke-like numbers.
Well, that's really playing to your strength, you know, and this team realizes that their strength is inside and taking the ball inside and getting the ball to the basket with Yango and Morker and Newton and everybody else, guards included. And then that will open it up outside, but you always build if you have the players to do it, you always build your offense from the inside out, and then you go out inside again. So that's where you're going to get fouled. You're not going to get to the free throw line if you're a jump shooting team more like Santa Barbara is right now, because that's the way they have to play. That's where their strength is. But you're not going to get to the free throw line that way. You're going to get to the free throw line taking the ball inside and taking it hard to the basket.
Pacific 6 of 6 at the line tonight. Santa Barbara 0 for 1. Pacific and their 7 seniors playing one of their final 3 home games. They'll be back here on Saturday against UTEP in the Bracket Buster, 9 o'clock on ESPN. And then Bob Thomas and squad will also be at home next Saturday. Their only game next week against Cal State Northridge. That is an 8 p.m. ESPN 2 game. Pacific already clinched the number 1 seed in the Big West tournament. They'll play at 6 p.m. on Friday, the 11th of March, and the semifinals. Have to win just one time to get to the championship game like last year. Webb lining up the 3. Can't fall for him there, and the rebound to Santa Barbara. But Pacific trying to win an outright championship here tonight. Would be their first outright regular season championship since 97-98 when they won the West Division. Of course, last year co-champs in the regular season at 17-1 with Utah State. There's Rasp. He hit a 3 but has missed his last 2 shots. The Karam to Christian Moriker.
These other games on the schedule, Eric, I think are really important for UOP, because besides getting the number 1 seed in the Big West tournament, which is great, and winning the conference outright, the regular conference, everyone knows that there's only one team for sure that goes. That's the team that wins that Big West tournament. And any team in the Big West at an 8-team field can have a bad night, and certainly that could happen to Pacific as well. So you want to have some insurance, and that's why these last 5 games are so important for Pacific, is to go into that tournament knowing if they don't win the Big West tournament, they could get an at-large berth in the NC2A tournament.
Johnny Gray had the last 2 for Pacific to put them up by 11. Into the lineup for Santa Barbara, Joe C. and Derek Wheeler. And of course, a very similar situation a year ago for Utah State. They had just 2 overall losses, but they lost in the semifinal of the Big West tournament to Cal State Northridge. Did not get to the championship. Gray feeling it maybe, misses short. Offensive rebound to Yasko Karaikic. But Utah State didn't have nearly the high RPI that Pacific does. That's probably the difference between Utah State not getting in last year and Pacific having a great chance to get in if they don't win the Big West Conference tournament.
Yeah, Pacific has a ball out of bounds. It'll be Pacific's ball out of bounds. Pacific has a few, or Santa Barbara's ball out of bounds. Pacific has a few other things going for them that Utah State didn't have last year. Number 1, they can go into that Big West Conference tournament with a 21-game winning streak. Right. And they always rate the teams on how you finish the season. And you can't finish much better than 21-0. The other thing is that Pacific won a game last year in the NC2A tournament. And that selection committee is going to remember that. They were number 12 seed and they beat a number 5 seed. So that has Pacific in a better position than Utah State was in last year as well.
Foul by Harris in the backcourt, his second. Third on Santa Barbara with 13:30 to play in the game, 48-39 Pacific. Tyler Newton in for Jasko Krajkic. And I guess the only team playing much better than Pacific is Illinois. They're 25-0, of course, the longest winning streak in the nation. Utah's won 17 straight. Pacific can match that here tonight. And Coach, there's only a few teams in the country with 2 losses or less. Illinois, of course, undefeated. Boston College 20-1. Kansas, who lost on Monday, they're 20-2. And then, of course, Pacific at 20-2. Kentucky was there, but they lost last night. So it's Kansas, Boston College, Illinois, and Pacific, the only teams with 2 losses or less in the country.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you know, the Tigers really have worked hard, and they deserve all the success they're getting. Great chemistry on this team, great leadership, great coaching as far as preparing this team for every game.
Tigers leading by 9, and certainly not out of the woods yet with about 13 minutes to play. Here's Kennedy looking for an open teammate. He finds Joe C. Fall back 3, got it. All net from Joe C. His third 3, and all of a sudden it's a 6-point game.
Now Joe C. again, very dangerous from that 3-point line, and especially tonight, he's feeling it.
And last year he shot nearly 43% from beyond the arc, much lower this year at 30%. But as we said, he started the year 0 of 16, but hit 8 against Utah State in Logan earlier this year. Moriker trying to bounce it for Yango. Ball last touched though by Santa Barbara and Derek Wheeler. So the Tigers will have it, but a 10-point halftime lead is down to 6. Matt Kemper and David Dudley in for the Tigers, replacing Gray and Yango.
The Tigers really trying to get the ball inside, and they're going a little high-low action between Marker and Yango.
Kemper at the free throw line, out to Dudley, who just checked in. Shot clock was down to 5. Dudley's had about 3 or 4 shots look like they're going down, and they just haven't fallen. Here's a steal. Alex Harris ahead of the pack, and he'll throw it down. 4-point game, 48-44. Santa Barbara trying to ruin the Pacific party.
Yeah, they really are. They're doing a good job of it right now. Tigers are a little careless with the ball, maybe overpassing a little bit inside.
And that's a charge on Newton as Kennedy takes it in there. And Pacific is a little disheveled right now. The media timeout comes under 12 with 11:40 to go in the game. But what was once a 10-point halftime lead and 11 here in the second half is down to 4.
Yeah, again, just careless. Tyler Newton now going to the dribble, charging into the Santa Barbara player who was stationary, had good position. Really not necessary. Just give the ball to Dudley, who's standing right out there ready to start the offense. No need to dribble the ball into the defense.
For the final time, we thank our friends over at Eric's New York Style Pizza, located at 4118 North Eldorado Street in Stockton, 463-6339, 463-6339. And of course, Newton made a great play on Saturday against Utah State, driving the baseline, cut off and found the open Christian Moriker for the game winner. But really a situation there where you don't want your 6'10 forward bringing the ball up, break the pressure, then hold up the dribble and wait for a guard to come find you.
Right. Yeah, Newton's a good ball handler, and you know, the coaching staff and his teammates and everything feel comfortable with him dribbling the ball, but there's a time to dribble the ball and there's a time not to. That was a very poor decision to dribble into the defense. There was actually 3 Santa Barbara defenders right there. When things aren't going well for the Tigers, you know, you don't want any mistakes at this point in the game.
So Pacific looking for win number 17 in a row, their 28th straight conference win as well, which 27 is already a school record. They're ranked 19th in the country in both the polls. You see the bench right there. The Tigers bring David Dudley, Christian Moriker, Mike Webb, Tyler Newton, and Matt Kemper onto the floor. For Santa Barbara, it is Josh Davis, Joe C., David Kennedy, Alex Harris, who's been big here in the second half, and Derek Wheeler.
Pacific's in their man-for-man defense. Got to know where Joe C. is all the time on the court. Great outside shooter.
A 7-0 run by Santa Barbara to make this a 4-point game. Joe C. with the ball. There's Davis, steps into that 3. Would have cut it to 1, but Newton ends up with the rebound for Pacific.
The Tigers just have to execute better now on offense.
Near steal by C. The ball's loose. Kemper gives it off. Tyler Newton, And he's fouled hard there by Kennedy. And so Newton will head to the line. The Tigers catch a break there. It looks like Santa Barbara was going to be going the other way.
Yeah, Tyler Newton, again, sort of a careless pass from the corner, back out to the top. That's always, that cross-court pass is the one that's always dangerous as far as getting it intercepted.
So Newton to the line. Tonight, 2 of 2 there. He has 8 points, also 5 rebounds. Now 9 points, trying to get into double figures.
The Tigers are perfect from the free throw line, 7 for 7. They haven't been there that often, but they've done the most with what they've had.
And Santa Barbara's only taken 1 free throw. They missed it. Newton gets into double figures at 10, his 3rd double figure game of the year.
And he's 4 for 4 from the free throw line. You're talking about a guy that was really struggling early in the year from the free throw line is now really getting everything to go down right now.
6-point lead for Pacific. Harris on the drive, gives it off. Kennedy, foul. The officials do a good job stepping in, but nothing was happening there. 10:45 to play in the game. 6-point lead for Pacific can be cut back to 4 here for Kennedy with 2 shots.
Yeah, Newton just wanted to make sure that Gaucho wasn't going to go up and put the ball in the basket. Low hard foul. But make him earn the points from the free throw line. Doesn't want him to go to the line, make the basket, get the foul and the free throw as well.
And here's David Kennedy. Missed 15 of the first 16 games of the season with the stress fracture as well, but he is back. As we mentioned, originally recruited to play volleyball at Santa Barbara, but of course that leaping ability does transfer over, no question. And he's a guy averaging a half a point per game coming in. He has 4, but certainly kind of shot that free throw like a volleyball player.
Yeah, that was what he's saying. That's probably why he played volleyball too. But yeah, he is a good athlete. There's no doubt about that. He runs the court well and he jumps very well.
Airballs that, and he's just 1 for 8 at the free throw line this season. And so it remains a 6-point lead for Pacific. Bob Williams, though, of course, who won a D2 national championship at UC Davis, clapping his team on, probably thrilled they're within 6 here with better than 10 minutes to play in the game. Mihailovic triple teamed, and then he's fouled by Josh Davis.
Well, Pacific not real organized that time against the pressure defense. Mihailovic had to take 2 defenders on right at the half-court level. Pacific got to get better organized against that pressure defense.
And so Michael Chambers back into the Santa Barbara lineup along with Derek Rasper and Glenn Turner. They join Josh Davis and Joe C. Mihailovic, Newton, Dudley, Webb, and Kemper for Pacific. So Mihailovic the only, check that, 2 starters on the floor with Dudley and Mihailovic.
It's like a 1-2-2 zone now by the Gauchos. Been playing a little 2-3 and now 1-2-2.
Dudley took a little bump and still hit it. So David Dudley from downtown, his first made 3s, 1 of 5 beyond the arc.
David really stepped up big that time and hit a 3 from outside against the zone defense.
Mihailovic stills it ahead to Newton. He'll run it down, and he gets fouled and goes down hard. Glenn Turner fouls him and kind of undercut Newton, but he's up for the Tigers. And Turner, he was injured last week against Davis, hit his head on the floor. Newton didn't hit his head, but really went down pretty hard.
Turner's going to the bench right now. It looked like he hurt his hand, his fingers. May have got him. Sometimes these big guys get up in that net and they get their fingers caught in the net.
I've heard about that, but never had it happen.
I never experienced that, but I have heard about it. At least that's what some of our big guys have told me from time to time.
So Pacific, after Santa Barbara cut it to 4, they've scored the last 5 points, including the 3 by Dudley. And here's Newton again, probably a little shaken up, but has hit all 4 free throws he's taken tonight.
Hey, let's go, Tyler!
Last year, honorable mention all Big West.
Let's go, T-Newt!
and his first miss. And I don't think this season Newton's been quite on the level he was a year ago. Remember, he had 22 in that game against Northridge a season ago and just playing 16 minutes. He certainly has had pockets where he's been very good, 17 against Fresno State, 8 against Kansas, but it seems like he's maybe trying to pick up his level, has done so here tonight, and if he can become another viable scoring option for the Tigers, it'll make them that much more dangerous come March.
Yeah, I agree, Eric, and this team has just really been balanced. You know, they got 3 scores and going to it all the
Fans wanted a block. It was very close, but the foul against Matt Kemper. And Kemper's another guy that gives them options. But, Coach, you were talking, I mean, look at the guys that come off the bench. Webb, Gray, Kemper, and Newton, pretty good group to choose from.
Yeah, really are. It's really a solid 9-player rotation. Looks like Matt Kemper's got all ball there. I didn't see any contact whatsoever.
But remember, Kennedy airballed his last one. Everybody letting him hear it. And he's now missed all 3 free throws he has taken. Santa Barbara 0 for 4 at the line. Pacific 9 for 10. One more for Kennedy. For the year, he's just 1 of 9. That barely got the rim.
Tigers again fortunate to be able to foul and walk away with Santa Barbara not scoring any points. Santa Barbara in the 1-2-2 zone now. Trying to defend the basket inside. Doing a better job of closing off the inside right now, making Pacific just look at the outside.
Doubly fouled up top by Joe C. Here comes Jasko Krajkic. That's the 17th foul against Santa Barbara. So 1-1 for David Doubly, an 87% free throw shooter.
The Tigers are doing a great job of stepping up to the free throw line and making these. They're 9 for 10 right now from the free throw line. And as this game goes on, they got to get to the free throw line consistently and put them down.
And Kennedy, who's had a rough night, goes to the bench, serenaded by airball. You feel bad for him, but certainly if you're Pacific, you know who you have to foul if you need to give one up. Here's Doubly. That's who Santa Barbara does not want to foul. 90% last year, 3rd all-time at Pacific. This year, 87%, which is 6th. He has that free throw.
Well, what Pacific has to guard against, Eric, with a little less than 9.5 minutes to go here, is not getting into a game where they get into a jump shooting contest with Santa Barbara. Not if they can outshoot them. I think they probably could outshoot them. But that's playing away from their strength. Their strength is getting the ball inside and taking the ball to the basket and getting the free throw line.
So an 8-0 run by Pacific after Santa Barbara cut it to 4 at 48-44. 56-44, our score, nearly 9 to play in the game. Josh Davis just grazes the rim. Loose ball, Mihailovic has it. Here come the Tigers, Doubly leading the pack. Jasko Krajkic. And what a decision by Krajkic not to take that shot.
Good decision, right. Because it's time in the game now where even the Tigers could run a little clock down.
Kemper, air ball. And last touch by Krajkic trying to save it. So Santa Barbara's got to make a move here in a hurry with 8:42 to play in the game. Down by 12. They played hard and cut it to 4, but couldn't get any closer than that.
Yeah, it looked like Kemper was sort of indecisive as far as whether he should take that shot or not. If you're going to take a shot, go up and take it and hit it.
Davis, 2 straight misses. Offensive rebound, Glenn Turner gets it out to Chambers. Loose ball, Mihailovic has it. Foul on Santa Barbara. And it's on Derek Rasp. So it'll be 1-1 for Pacific. And Pacific with an 11-point differential at the free throw line. They lead by 12.
Yeah, that's where it comes from, you know, just getting to the line more than your opponent, putting them down. Derek Rasp got caught inside with the tall guys that time, and he was pushing and shoving and trying to do whatever he could to get the ball away from him, but got called for the foul.
Here's Newton, just missed 1 tonight, 5 of 6. Now 5 of 7. Run down by Krajkic, saves it to Marko Mihailovic.
Good job by Jasko. Again, Santa Barbara staying in their zone. not coming out and pressuring the Tigers yet. Tigers doing a smart thing, trying to just run some clock off and get the high percentage shot.
Pretty good look. Yango can't put it in. Rebounding foul on Pacific. It's on Mihailovic. No, check that. On Tyler Newton, I beg your pardon. The 5th against Pacific.
Tyler Newton going hard to the offensive glass. The player's going to foul. You want to make a good foul out of it. That was what a coach would consider a good foul, going hard to the ball.
4 on Newton, so he has to go to the bench. Moriker in for the Tigers. With under 8 to play, next dead ball will be the media timeout. 56-44 Tigers.
Mihailovic on Joe C. outside, trying to make sure he doesn't get any opening to go up.
Shot clock under 10. Here's Chrisman Oliver. A quiet night for him. He's 0 of 5 from the floor. No call. He airballs it at the shot clock horn. It didn't go off. They reset the horn. Shot doesn't go in, and Bob Thomason is displeased. The shot clock was reset. It shouldn't have been. That was an air ball by Oliver. And the fans are booing their own shot clock guy, and certainly not intentionally done. And we'll see if they want to look at a replay as well. I don't know.
Yeah, looked like the shot clock should not have been reset.
No, it shouldn't have been reset.
Didn't look like it hit the rim.
And Oliver let the shot go with about 2 seconds on the shot clock. It is the under 8 media timeout, 7:21, and you see Pacific going to their bench. Santa Barbara has done the same. And so the officials discussing it. There was a foul called on the rebound in the ensuing play, and that's what Bob Thomas is saying, hey, that play should have never happened.
Right, foul was incidental, shouldn't have mattered. It was after the shot clock violation.
And so Pacific leading by 12.
It's a call that the out officials have to make. The inside official, the baseline official who called the foul, has to watch the body and the players inside. It's the outside officials who have to see whether the ball makes contact with the rim or not.
So the officials still discussing it all during this under 8 media timeout. And we'll have to wait and see what the call is going to be. And it looks like they're going to go with a foul on Pacific and no shot clock violation. And Pacific still leading here relatively comfortably by 12 with 7:21 to go as Bob Thomason now is in the middle of that talking with the officials. But based upon what happened on Saturday, not only with Pacific, but UNLV coming back from 10 down in the final minute, you need every point. You never know what will be important.
Don't take anything for granted. You're absolutely right. Three-point shot has changed the game so much that you're never out of the game if you got some good three-point shooters on your team. They go down and start throwing in some baskets from beyond the arc. You can get back in the game real quickly.
Larry Spalding was discussing things with Bob Thomason. Now he's in the Santa Barbara huddle, so we'll see what the officials have when the teams come back onto the floor.
Santa Barbara coach is talking to the official about it being a shooting foul. It certainly wasn't a shooting foul. Should be Santa Barbara's ball out of bounds, I would think.
You see the Big West standings, Pacific at the top at 14-0, then Northridge and Utah State each with 4 losses. The Tigers, even if they were to lose their final 4 conference games, would still be the number 1 seed, but of course would be a co-champion. They win here tonight and they have an outright championship. So Santa Barbara to inbounds off the Pacific foul is just the 16th foul. That's why it's not 1-1.
It was almost a 5-second count against the Gauchos not getting the ball inbounds. Just barely made it.
Nearing 7 minutes to play here from the Spano Center. Pacific looking for their 17th straight win, 28th in a row in Big West Conference play.
Santa Barbara running their man-for-man offense. Gauchos looking for penetration.
Kick out by Joe C. to Oliver. And Chrisman Oliver 0 for 7 tonight. Rebound to Guillaume Yango, the Tigers' leader.
Good defensive sequence by Pacific. Pacific in their man-for-man defense had everyone covered that time.
Yango hammered on his way to the hoop. And Guillaume Yango will head to the free throw line. Pacific going inside where they have the clear advantage.
Well, Yango and Marker both have had a lot of room to operate inside that paint area. Tigers are doing a good job of finding them. They're so open that it's almost unrealistic for them because they're not sure whether they should just go up and take the jump shot, the short jump shot. They want to try to take it to the rim so that they can maybe make the basket as well as get fouled.
And the free throw by Yango, coach, the first points by either team in nearly 3 minutes.
Now that last 3 minutes wasn't very pretty. There's a lot of balls, a lot of turnovers.
Josh Davis returns for Santa Barbara, as did Kennedy. That's why you heard the air ball chants. Pacific on a very prolonged 9-0 run. Remember, it was 48-44. Santa Barbara had cut it to 4. They have not scored since then.
Well, they've done a good job defensively. The Tigers with their man-for-man, they haven't played any zone in this entire game, which is very unusual for the Tigers. Usually after they get a lead, they'll go into their zone just to stay out of foul trouble. But doing a good job in their man-for-man, just staying in front of the ball, cutting down penetration, making Santa Barbara shoot from the outside.
Pacific shooting 51%, Santa Barbara 41. For the year, the Tigers shoot above 50%. Yango steps out on Harris, but then he'll pull up. Doesn't drop. Guillaume Yango high for the rebound, loses it, but it bounces to Christian Moriker. Lob, Karaiki!
Woo! That'll get him off the play. Josko Karakic with a 360 turn in the air and a dunk off the lob pass by...
Off the high lob.
High lob by Martin.
You won't see one much better than that.
Mihailovic sees him on the other side, catches it, turns, slam dunks it. Quite a play by Josko Karakic.
It's now a 12-0 run by Pacific. The Tigers foul the other way, and at the line is Alex Harris. But we can watch that replay all night long. Free throw rattles out the front end of the 1-and-1 by Harris. 16-point Tiger lead.
Santa Barbara 0 for 6 from the free throw line tonight.
And Pacific 13 of 15.
Big difference. That's where the game has been decided, at the free throw line. Santa Barbara not getting there, and when they do get there, not making them.
Coach, it was 48-44 at the 11:45 mark. Mihailovic can't hit. Put back, Moriker. Since then, Pacific on a 14-0 run, and Santa Barbara now hasn't scored in nearly 7 minutes.
Well, Christian Oliver got caught underneath trying to block out Christian Morker. 6'9" against about 6'1", just not going to work.
Dudley, not there. Rebound last touch by the Tigers, and Pacific leading by 18, game well in hand now with 4:51 to go. Have to be careful they don't turn it into showtime here. Obviously you want to see plays like that, but still want to run your offense here a little bit.
Yeah, Dudley was trying to put the dagger in, in the Gauchos that time, but came up short.
C misses, and Santa Barbara continues that drought. They last scored at the 11:45 mark. We're nearing now 4:30 to play in the game.
But you're right, they just have to keep running their offense, get it. That open area in the zone has just been so vulnerable for the Gauchos tonight. Pacific has really taken advantage of it.
And finally, Santa Barbara scores the 3 from Harris. He has 12 now and scores at about the 4:17 mark. So Santa Barbara goes 7.5 minutes without scoring. And during that stretch, Pacific goes on a 16-0 run. Yango, it counts. He'll head to the line.
Oh, it's nice to have big men like Morker at 6'9" and Newton at 6'10", Yango who can handle the ball. They really pass well to each other, and they look for each other inside, which you want your big men to do.
So Yango with 15, Moriker with 14, 11 each from Newton and Karakic. And here is Yango at the free throw line. Tonight, 3 of 3, make it 4 of 4. He completes that three-point play and has 16 Yang goes 6 straight games in double figures, 16 for the year. Going glass is Alex Harris, and he is going to be a thorn in Pacific's side in the next 3 years, no question.
I guess. Only a freshman, and he's their guy right now. He's their go-to guy. That's amazing as a freshman how he has just won the confidence of this whole team. They're looking for him almost every time down the court right now because he's the guy who can get open for a shot.
Harris leads Santa Barbara with 14. Less than 3.5 to play from the Spanos Center. Pacific was only up 4 with around 12 minutes to go. A 16-0 run. Karajkic, after he had the reverse, feels like he can dunk everything.
Well, that was a little Superman action right there. He was ready to take off about the free throw line, slam that one through.
So as the under 4 timeout, here's Karajkic, why not?
I mean, you talk about it going aggressively to the rim. He sure did, right in Campbell as he went in.
So Pacific here at the Spanos Center on the 19th against UTEP and the 26th against Northridge. The next 2 Saturdays, those are their final 2 home games. And then they go on the road at Fullerton on March 3rd, March 5th at Riverside. That's it for the regular season. And their first game in the Big West tournament will be on March 11th, a Friday night, and they play the first of the semifinal games at 6 p.m. So Pacific exactly where they want to be right now.
Yeah, they really are. They have one more game. They're at UC Riverside, as well on the 5th of March. But yeah, they're, again, they just got to pick them off one by one. Really looking forward to seeing this UTEP team. They should pick up their 20th win tonight at San Jose State. So they'll be a 20-win team coming in here Saturday night, more than likely.
They will bring in Filiberto Rivera, a very good player, and Pacific will have their 7 seniors on Sports Talk tomorrow night along with Christian Morker to talk about this game, to talk about the bracket buster, and what looks like it will be now a 17-game winning streak. So tomorrow night on SJTV, that's Thursday night, the 17th at 6 p.m. We'll have the 7 seniors plus 4th-year junior Christian Morker. And it's a Pacific team that if they don't win the Big West Conference tournament, but still get into the NCAA tournament as an at-large team, would be the first at-large team from the Big West since 1993 when New Mexico State got in.
Well, I'll tell you, Pacific's got, like I mentioned, has an opportunity to put just absolutely no doubt in everyone's mind who's on that NC2A selection committee. They have the ability and can finish this year with a 25 wins, 21 in a row, as well as the Big West regular season championship. So if they slip up in that Big West Conference tournament, I can't imagine them not getting an at-large bid.
I would concur. Of course, a year ago, Pacific won 25 games, 25-8. As Karajkic hit the second free throw, gets it back, and kicks it out.
Yeah, this runs some clock right now. They got plenty of points. Don't need any more points. Just need to run some clock off right now.
As we approach 3 minutes to play in the contest, it doesn't really seem like it was ever 48-44, does it, Coach?
No, it really doesn't.
Kennedy's showing his volleyball hops, and a technical foul is called.
Technical foul on who?
Goes against Santa Barbara. It
David
goes against Kennedy. Maybe he said something after the block shot.
Right.
And so now the fans go back with the chant of air ball. Bob Williams talking with the official, Larry Spalding.
It's hard. He made a great block. He really, he's got great leaping ability. Got up in the air. This point in the game with the score what it is, I can't imagine officials not letting a little trash talk going.
So here's Dudley to shoot the technical. Pacific by 19. A 16-0 run here in the second half, putting Pacific in complete control. Back to a 20-point lead. Dudley has both of them. 70-49 Pacific. The Tigers at the line, 17 of 20, 85%. Santa Barbara, 0 of 6.
Yeah, 17-point differential from the free throw line between these two teams. You're not gonna win any basketball games if you let the other team score 17 more points from the free throw line.
And that continues the trend for Pacific all season long. And a whistle here by Larry Spalding just to get things straight at the scorer's table, I believe. Michael White into the game for Pacific. He has not played in 10 of his last 12 games. So a rarity for White, just his 8th appearance of the season. Also Alan Purnell on the floor for the Tigers, his 14th game. They play with Matt Kemper, Johnny Gray, and Mike Webb.
The shot clock only has 13 seconds on it.
They go from the point of the block shot after the technical was taken. That's why it wasn't reset.
Pacific,
down to 5, down to 3.
Aware of it. Yes,
Webb.
Yeah. He had.
Kind of looked like the shot he made against Utah
I
State.
think so. I think he's just getting a little bit more extra practice.
Joe C back the other way. C with 14, but we haven't heard from him in a while. 73-52, and apparently Mike Webb likes that spot, somebody running at him.
Oh, I guess.
White can't finish, rebound to Kemper. Reversal is good for Matt Kemper.
Mike White taking the ball hard to the rim. Unfortunately, just glance it off the glass.
And a rebound by White, the sophomore from Capitola, California.
Alan Purnell in the game now. See if they can set Alan up for a shot.
Webb again.
Webb.
Rebound to Matt Kemper. Miguel Flores will check in at the next dead ball. Less than 2 to go in this contest. Pacific leading by 23. Purnell.
Oh, in and out. Well, that ball was halfway down and came back out for Allen.
Chambers, not there. And Santa Barbara, 41% for the game, Pacific 51%. And Miguel Flores as well as Drew Pearson will check in for the Tigers. So everybody that is eligible playing for the Tigers. And Pacific now, this will be win number 17 in a row, second highest in school history. The first time in 4 tries Bob Thomason has had a team get to 17. It'll be win number 28 in a row in conference games. And Pacific is the outright regular season champion in the Big West.
Yeah, that's amazing feat for the Tigers. They have their winning streak the way they ended, and I've said it before, and the thing that still amazes me is their road record. You know, with 11 wins on the road this year, only 1 loss. Having coached this game for a number of years, I know how much better you have to play on the road to win than at home, because the home team has so many more advantages than a visiting team. And the Tigers be able to go on the road and pick up 11 wins against only 1 defeat is an amazing feat.
And when you consider some of the teams Pacific has had here, both the junior and senior year, Michael Owakandi, the outstanding 66-67 team of Dick Edwards, the most wins on the road in school history was 9. Pacific has already topped that by 2, and they still have 2 more road games.
Yeah, and I forgot to say that one low road loss only happened to be to Kansas, second-ranked team in the country. Until they lost the other night, they'd probably be dropped a little bit after losing to Texas Tech the other night. But no doubt the Tigers have really turned it up this year on the road.
And Pacific with this win will be now 37-3 in their last 40 games. 2 losses to Kansas, 1 to USF. That's remarkable. As Purnell scores for the Tigers to get them to 77. And since December 30th, of 2003, Pacific has the most wins of any team in the country.
Drew Pearson's in the game now. Redshirt freshman from last year, number 42.
And so all 13 Tigers have played. There's Rasp at the top of the key. Rebound to Michael White, his second. Taken away by Santa Barbara and Chambers. Here's Joe C, gives it up. Harris is fouled by Michael White with 44 seconds to go. Pacific leading by 25. So Pacific, we saw them against UC Irvine the last time we were on the air. They ended up winning by 10, but I wouldn't say they were probably overly thrilled with that performance. Follow that up with a statement game at home, blowing out Long Beach State. An impressive win on the road at Idaho. Really were never threatened in that contest. Had the miraculous win against Utah State. And we're certainly challenged here midway through the second half with them blew out UC Santa Barbara. And even though Pacific, as we've said now, has won 17 in a row, I don't know if they were playing great basketball during the first 10, 11 games of that. I think over the last 4 or 5 games, obviously the first half of, and most of the Utah State game, they didn't play great basketball, but I think lately they've really asserted themselves and played a very high level of basketball.
Yeah, you really want to be peaking towards the end of the year and just keep getting better as the year goes on. So when you go into your conference tournament and hopefully the NC2A tournament after that, you're playing your best basketball of the year. And I think that's where Pacific is right now.
20 seconds to go. Pacific leading 77-56. Miguel Flores, turnaround, drops in.
Great job by Fleur McGurn. And the reason for that improvement is not so much the starters as much as the players coming off the bench. Guys like Michael Webb and Johnny Gray have really stepped up. Matt Kemper has really stepped up. So they have a real solid 9-player rotation right now.
So that does it. Pacific victorious, their 17th win in a row. Second most in school history, an ongoing school record, 28 straight conference wins. Pacific gets the victory here tonight, 79-56. Very well-balanced scoring. 16 from Guillaume Yango to lead the way, 14 from Christian Moriker, 12 from Jasko Karajkic, and 11 from Tyler Newton. So Pacific picks up the victory here in the sandwich game between the Utah State win and UTEP coming in here on Saturday. And no question, the UTEP game, as a bracket buster, one of the biggest games of the year for the Tigers in the regular season, if not their biggest.
Yeah, it really is. And, you know, an interesting thing is happening on the court right now, Eric. You know, the Tigers have just won the Big West Championship, and they're very subdued.
Right.
You know, after this, they're wondering whether they should cut down the net,
which we saw last year,
which they really should do. They clinched the Big West Conference Championship, but the players are hanging around. They really want to celebrate, but they know they have a lot of games left in this season, some very important games. This is probably the earliest that any Pacific team has ever clinched the conference championship, and it's sort of weird just watching them, wondering what they're going to do.
Yeah, good scene over there as the Tigers are putting on championship shirts as well. There's the net right now. It is still intact. So Pacific still with 3 conference games to go have already clinched the regular season championship. They'd already clinched #1 seed even before this game. And maybe the Nets will come down tonight, Coach.
Yeah, I think they have the ladder out there. Someone can find a knife or something now. They'll probably get after that. Both of those nets on both ends have a little souvenir to remember that this is the game that clinched the Big West Conference Championship for them.
And so over there is David Dudley. He's about ready to cut down the net. He is the first man, and I think appropriately so.
Yeah, exactly. Senior captain, go up, get the net down. David Dudley, great.
One of 7 seniors on his team.
Usually this is the type of thing you do when it's your last game of the year and so forth, but here they got a lot of basketball yet to play this season. And like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if this is the earliest a Pacific team has ever clinched a conference title. And the players didn't know how to act. They was wondering, they were asking the coaching staff, should we cut down the nets, or what are we supposed to do, go in the locker room? It was very, very subdued celebration.
And I think the reason for that, and you've alluded to it, Pacific still has a lot of unfinished business, of course, to take care of this season, and they have still the Big West tournament on the horizon. And the thing, a year ago, Pacific clinched a co-championship in their final home game, hence you cut down the net. The Tigers are probably saying, hey, we still have 3 more conference games and 4 to go in the regular season.
Yeah, they not totally believing, I don't think, that they've actually clinched it. But and they have their mind, you know, they have other goals they want to obtain before this season is over, and this is the first one. They have the #1 seed in the Big West Conference Tournament. They don't know who their opponent will be, and they won't know until Thursday night's games, and they'll be against the highest remaining seed in that tournament.
And I guess the one thing Pacific can control, as you said, Coach, is make sure they're on a 21-game winning streak going into that semifinal.
I really think so. With their ranking in the country at 19th right now, and certainly if they can run the table and win the rest of their games going into that conference tournament, I can't see that ranking going lower than 19. Their RPI is up there high, so they can accomplish a lot with the game on Saturday night against UTEP, because UTEP's going to come in here more than likely with their 20th win under their belt. And if UTEP doesn't win the WAC conference tournament, they're going to certainly be a candidate for an at-large berth. And if it comes down to UOP or UTEP, that's going to make a big difference Saturday night who wins that ball game.
And of course, Pacific already 3-0 against the WAC with wins against Nevada, San Jose State, and Fresno State. And Coach, how rare is it? I know this is somewhat rhetorical, but for a team to clinch a championship, last year a co-championship, on their home floor 2 years in a row and get down to cut down the nets in front of their home fans.
Yeah, that's great. It's great for the crowd, and you know, this was a standing room crowd, Eric. This place really filled up. It was a sort of a late arriving crowd, but once they arrived, they really filled up this place. There was standing room only tonight.
And the crowd, Coach, 5906, the largest this season by better than 500, just shy of a sellout by about 250 people, the 9th largest crowd in Pacific history. They've had 8 sellouts. This is the largest non-sellout crowd in Pacific history, and I'd virtually guarantee a sellout here on Saturday for the 9 p.m. game, and then probably the following Saturday as well against Cal State Northridge.
Yeah, I was checking with a few people before the game, and they had gone by the UOP athletic ticket office, and they asked how many tickets were remaining for Saturday night, and they mentioned just a few hundred. So there's there are some tickets still available, and if you haven't seen this team or you want to come out Saturday night, don't hesitate. Give that ticket office a call and reserve your tickets.
There's redshirt Anthony Brown, and if you want tickets for Saturday, you better get them Thursday morning or really know somebody in a high place.
Yeah, that's right. They'll be sold out, I'm sure, before Saturday.
And of course, you can't get a ticket. You can watch them on ESPN as the Tigers. There's another redshirt Kevin Hurley as they continue to cut down the nets here. 15-0 in conference. We mentioned bidding to become the first team to go 18-0 in Big West play since 91-92 when UNLV did it. Pacific's only had 2 teams in their school's history go undefeated in conference play. The 66-67 team, they went 14-0 in conference play, and then 46-47. That team went 10-0. And here's Bob Thomason. For the first time, he got his 17th straight win in 4 tries.
Yeah. I was doing the radio when they had a couple of those 16-game winning streaks. Never could get that 17th one, but they finally got it on the 4th try.
And so, quite interesting that the school record is 21, and Pacific could get to 21 straight wins in their final regular season game heading into the Big West Conference Tournament.
And I think that's a realistic goal for this team. And again, I just firmly believe that happens and they go into that Big West tournament with a 25-2 record with 21 straight wins, a win in the NC2A tournament last year. They're going to get an at-large berth from that selection committee, whether they win the Big West tournament or not.
Been a very impressive run for the Tigers at this point. They still have one more net to go. There's a ladder over there, but we have to get out of here. The students still here. Of course, the student section seems to have grown with each passing home game, chanting UOP here at the stretch. And people don't understand, things like this don't happen very often, even to the best teams in the country. I mean, to have a win streak of 17 in a row, conference win streak of 28, a 21-2 mark, there's not many teams going around that have any chance of being in this position.
No, it's a very... you talk about teams and you start out, they knew this team was going to be good. And then you hope they were going to be better than good, maybe great. And now they really have a chance to be a special team. And to get in that special category, you have long winning streaks. You go in and you win a Big West tournament, get to the NC2A tournament. Those are special memories that only come around a few times in a coach's career and also in the history of Pacific.
And once again, Pacific, a game where they could have come without focus, and maybe for stretches they were a little unfocused in this contest, but a sandwich game between the Utah State win and the UTEP game here on Saturday night. And when it was cut to 4, they went on the 16-0 run and never looked back.
No, and they really, Santa Barbara did a good job early in the game of slowing up the tempo, but once the tempo got where Pacific wanted it to be, Pacific was able to go and run with the ball go to the ball, go to the glass hard inside, and the big men in the second half particularly, Yango and Marker, really took over and did a lot of scoring inside.
Well, Coach, for us, our final broadcast of the season, the 7th year, you and I have been together about 90 Pacific broadcasts in total. Of course, you mentioned doing radio as well, a couple simulcasts in there. So I know on SJTV, all told, between Pacific broadcasts and a few high school games, you've been good for 100 Pacific broadcasts, so we can never thank you enough. I know you volunteered to do it, and we certainly appreciate it, and in no way can we ever repay you. We thought maybe this was one small way that we could do it, and basically it's a small little plaque right there with Comcast at the top, and it says, in recognition of your hard work and dedication, the Coach Dick Fickner 100 Pacific basketball broadcast, 1998 to 2005. Thank you from SJTV, and this is certainly a very small token of our appreciation. We can never possibly repay what you've done for us.
Eric, thank you very much.
No
It means a lot to me.
Thank
you bet.
you very much,
I enjoyed it immensely. I thank you for being with me and preparing me along the way.
Thank you very much. And with teams like Pacific's had over the last couple of years, it makes it very easy to do. For the final time here in 2005, for the Coach Dick Fickner and our entire SJTV crew, Pacific ranked 19th in the land. They win their 17th game in a row, the second highest in school history, and they've won a school record 28 conference games in a row. 79-56, the final here against Santa Barbara. And the Tigers will be back here at the Spano Center on Saturday against UTEP at 9 p.m. and the following Saturday against Cal State Northridge, an 8 p.m. game. I'm Eric Alves. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next year.
This program was a presentation of Comcast's SJTV. San Joaquin Television. SJTV. SJTV.